Archaeologists always came across artifacts that seem way too advanced for the times from which they originate. The ancient Greeks, for instance, built a clock capable of calculating and tracking planetary motions and solar eclipses, among other things. These forward-thinking inventions are often called ahead of their time. In reality, they are reflections of the ingenuity of their respective civilizations. So join us for today's video, as we're going to explore 15 such amazing discoveries that prove that ancient people were much smarter than modern ones. Number 15. Archimedes' screw. Most people credit the Archimedes screw to Archimedes himself, but he didn't invent it, he just described it. During a visit to Egypt in 234 BCE, he observed the device and documented it. It's a simple but brilliant water-lifting tool, a spiral tube wrapped around a central shaft. As it turns out, water is pushed upward through the coil, working as one of the oldest known hydraulic pumps. While Archimedes popularized it, records from the reign of King Sennacherib of Assyria suggest similar devices were used as early as 700 BCE. Some even link it to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, proposing that screws like this helped with irrigation. If those theories hold, the device predates Archimedes by centuries. Inscriptions describing water-raising mechanisms have been found in ancient Assyrian texts, pointing to a far deeper history. Whoever invented it had a sharp understanding of engineering and physics, something rarely tied to civilizations that old. Number 14. Sahite monolith. If you can interpret the carvings on the Sahite monolith, you might crack a code that's puzzled historians for generations. This carved stone stands at the site of Sahite, once inhabited by the Inca in the 15th and 16th centuries. It's the most puzzling object there, covered in elaborate engravings of animals like frogs, reptiles, and shellfish, as well as temples, terraces, canals, and tunnels. One popular theory suggests the monolith functioned as a topographic model of the region. Some scholars think the Incas used it to study how water flowed across the terrain. Water was likely poured into its grooves to trace paths, helping engineers plan real-life irrigation routes. If true, that would be a brilliant demonstration of early hydraulic planning. But there's a problem. There's no matching network of canals in the surrounding land to support the theory. So what was it really? Whatever the answer, it's clear the Inca left more questions than clues. Number 13. Preah Vihear Temple. The Preah Vihear Temple sits high atop the Dangrek Mountains in Cambodia, suspended on a cliffside in complete defiance of gravity and logic. Its current structure dates to the 11th century, though a smaller temple existed there as early as the 9th century. Built under the Khmer kings, the temple was meant to rival the glory of Angkor Wat, but what makes it even more astonishing is its location perched directly at the border with Thailand. The entire complex is meticulously aligned as if carved into place by precision tools we don't associate with that time. In fact, Thailand found the temple so remarkable, they disputed its ownership in the International Court of Justice in 1962, where Cambodia ultimately won. Despite extensive research, no one has been able to explain how such a massive construction was completed at that altitude, or how the ancient builders ensured the entire structure remained balanced. It's a masterpiece of ancient engineering, one that modern experts, even with PhDs, still can't fully unpack. Number 12. Bocca della Verità. The Bocca della Verità, or as people love to call it, the Mouth of Truth, became globally recognized after Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck featured it in the 1953 film Roman Holiday. But this ancient stone has roots far deeper than cinema. Carved more than 2,200 years ago, it carries a haunting legend. If a liar places their hand inside and tells a falsehood, the stone's mouth will close and sever it. While skeptics call it an old drain cover, the sculpture's elaborate design, featuring the face of the sea god Oceanus, suggests otherwise. Why would someone carve divine imagery into something so mundane? The myth predates the movie and has been passed down through Roman folklore for centuries. In an age without polygraphs or court trials, symbolic artifacts like this may have served a social function, deterring dishonesty in public rituals. Today it's a popular tourist site, but its purpose may never be definitively known. Still, every story has a beginning, and sometimes, legends outlast the facts that birth them. Number 11. Egyptian stone saws. The ancient Egyptians weren't just carving statues, they were slicing through granite, basalt, and limestone like it was soft clay. Beyond their ability to drill smooth holes into stone, they also seemed capable of cutting entire blocks with remarkable ease. On the eastern side of the Great Pyramid of Giza, you'll find paving stones that bear unmistakable saw marks, clean, sharp, and perfectly parallel. These grooves suggest that whatever blades were used, they moved rapidly, cleanly, and without deviation. The tools visible in historical reconstructions don't seem capable of producing such results. One theory gaining traction is that the Egyptians may have used a chemical method, something called molecular bond reversal, a process believed to soften rock temporarily. Researchers today are still experimenting with that same technique in laboratories, trying to see if it's even feasible. If the Egyptians did discover such a method thousands of years ago, it raises bigger questions. How did they find it, and how was such knowledge totally lost? Number 10. Yanshan rock paintings. In the remote cliffs of Inner Mongolia's Yanshan Mountains, ancient rock paintings blanket the region's rugged terrain. Found primarily on the steep faces of the Wolf Mountains, the images range from celestial symbols to depictions of humans, animals, and deities. The earliest known reference to these paintings comes from the 5th century Chinese geographer Li Daowen, though he didn't specify whether they were newly made or already ancient. Due to the area's isolation, the paintings went largely unnoticed until the 1930s, when a Sino-Swiss scientific team documented them during an expedition. Since then, over 10,000 unique figures have been cataloged, and most appear to have been created by nomadic groups. What's perplexing is that despite their wandering lifestyle, these people stayed long enough to cover entire cliffs with images. Some scholars think the site was seasonal or ceremonial. Either way, this rock art provides a glimpse into a culture with no written language but a clean and clear visual code. Number 9. Rock-cut tombs of Kos. The island city of Kos, located in present-day Turkey, has been overtaken, conquered, and reshaped many times in the past 2,500 years. Each invasion left its mark, sometimes literally erasing the past. One of the most enigmatic remnants left behind is the city's rock-cut tombs. Featuring a distinctly Hellenic design, they're estimated to be at least 2,200 years old, though some findings suggest they could be up to 2,500. Records are sparse because successive rulers often tried to eliminate evidence of previous civilizations. What's unusual is the lack of class separation among the burials. Around 20 tombs feature finely carved entrances and intricate sculptures, likely for nobility. Others, unadorned and modest, appear to have belonged to common citizens. This blending of status in one necropolis is rare for its time, and since we don't know who built them, we're also left guessing how they achieved such refined craftsmanship using tools from that era. Whatever culture was responsible, they mastered stone like few others did. Number 8. Medieval chess piece. In 2022, archaeologists excavating a 13th century site in Tensberg found an antler chess piece believed to be over 800 years old. Designed without any human features, the piece follows Islamic artistic traditions which prohibit figurative representation. It likely once had a lead base, allowing it to stand upright on a board. Scholars believe it represents a knight, given its cylindrical shape and raised central ridge. Its discovery supports the theory that chess arrived in Scandinavia from the Middle East via trade routes passing through Eastern Europe. Chess is known to have spread westward from Persia, becoming popular in Europe by the 12th century. The absence of carved figures aligns with early rules against using likenesses. While this piece stands alone, it hints at a full set once owned by someone wealthy or educated, possibly even part of a royal household. The remaining pieces, if ever found, could further trace the cultural exchange that brought intellectual games from east to north, while our ancient were smarter. Number 7. Golden altar gilding. The golden altar of Sant'Ambrogio in Milan glows with such perfection, it's hard to believe it dates back to 825 CE. The intricate gold leaf gilding beneath the carved surfaces isn't just decorative, it's flawless. The craftsmanship defies the technical limits of its era. Strangely, this isn't an isolated case. Similar examples of advanced gilding, some dating back 2,000 years, can be found around the world, and no one fully understands how they were done. Even with today's tools and microscopes, the quality remains unmatched. In some cases, ancient artisans weren't just decorating, they were deceiving. Fraudulent sellers coated cheap materials in thin layers of silver or gold, making them appear far more valuable than they really were, then selling them at a premium. That level of trickery required an astonishing command of materials. It suggests some of these ancient craftsmen weren't just skilled artists, they were precision engineers, and in many ways, they outperformed today's specialists with far fewer resources. Number 6. Paleolithic rope-making tool. The skill of rope making is so essential and so old that it predates written language. In 2016, archaeologists in Hohlefels Cave unearthed an ivory tool that reshaped how far back we trace that technology. Carved from mammoth tusk and over 40,000 years old, the object features 4 spiral-drilled holes, each with a slightly different diameter. While some speculated it could have been a musical instrument, further experimentation proved otherwise. Researchers replicated the tool and showed that threading plant fibers through the holes, while rotating them, reliably produced ropes of different thicknesses. The clean, uniform results couldn't have been accidental. This wasn't improvised handiwork, it was precision. The discovery confirms that humans living during the Upper Paleolithic didn't just use tools, they engineered them for specific production tasks. Ropes are a foundation of human technology, used for traps, shelter, bags, and more. This artifact shows that even tens of thousands of years ago, people weren't just surviving, they were designing, refining, and thinking well beyond the immediate needs of the day. Number 5. Nabonidus inscriptions. In 2021, archaeologists from the Saudi Heritage Commission announced the find of a series of rock carvings and inscriptions in the Hale region that may reshape what we know about cultural exchange in the ancient Near East. Among the figures carved into the rock is King Nabonidus, the final ruler of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, who reigned until Babylon fell in the 6th century BCE. The king is depicted holding a scepter and surrounded by symbols tied to Babylonian religion. That alone is significant, but nearby archaeologists also found a lengthy cuneiform inscription which is currently being translated. It's not the first time Nabonidus's name has appeared in the region. Several other stone monuments across Hale reference him, but this is one of the clearest and best preserved. While it doesn't prove direct rule over the area, it does strongly suggest Babylonian influence in what is now northern Saudi Arabia. These carvings may indicate trade, political reach, or a Babylonian presence far beyond what we previously assumed. Number 4. Egyptian alabaster disc. In 1828, a museum in the Netherlands acquired a strange alabaster disc of Egyptian origin, but where it came from before that remains unclear. The object is roughly 42,000 years old, and its features remain hard to classify. It has 7 shallow recesses, which may have held oils or incense sticks. Some archaeologists believe it served in embalming rituals, functioning like a tabletop for preparing the dead. Others, however, argue it resembles a control console, with a layout and symmetry unlike anything else from ancient Egypt. The entire surface is carved with hieroglyphs, many of which don't appear in other known artifacts. If those symbols are instructions, we've never managed to translate them. The precision and care taken to carve the disc seem excessive for something used purely for funerary tasks. That raises the question, why would someone go through the effort of decorating a work table in such detail? Until the language is deciphered, we won't know if this piece is religious, functional, or something else entirely. Number 3. Kuinat system of Kish. Beneath the modern surface of Kish Island, famous for its resorts and luxury development, lies a complex water network that tells a different story, one of ancient engineering brilliance. Known as a qanat, this underground irrigation system was built around 2,500 years ago and still stands as one of the most advanced hydraulic designs of its time. Stretching across the island, the qanat channeled freshwater from the mountains to dry lowlands, sustaining agriculture and settlements without pumps or electricity. The sheer scale of the tunnels is striking, large enough to walk through, and intricate enough to guide water with precision. Today, parts of the qanat have been restored with lighting and seating, giving it the appearance of an underground city. But despite its modern facelift, no one ever lived there. Its architectural form, with corridors that resemble streets and wells that look like courtyards, was purely functional. The ancient builders didn't design it for beauty, but the end result is something undeniably elegant. Number 2. The digesting duck. In 1739, French inventor Jacques de Vaucanson introduced the world to what might be the first believable robot, the digesting duck. While Hero of Alexandria had built automata centuries earlier, Vaucanson's creation stunned the public in a different way. The duck looked alive. It moved, flapped, drank water, ate grain, and most impressively appeared to digest and excrete the food. The process was fake, of course. One chamber accepted grain, and another expelled preloaded pellets, but for 18th century observers, it was indistinguishable from real digestion. Some even claimed it could quack and drink simultaneously. The duck wasn't meant for scientific research. It was pure spectacle. Still, it revealed just how convincing machinery could be when engineered with precision. Tragically, the duck was lost in a museum fire in 1879, ending one of the Enlightenment's most bizarre experiments in mechanical mimicry. It wasn't honest science, but it fooled thousands and opened the door to the possibility that lifelike machines might not be just fantasy. What do you think about this beautiful duck? Let us know. Number 1. Neolithic fertilizer. Fertilizer is essential to agriculture, but the idea that ancient people understood how to enrich soil is more advanced than we once thought. In 2013, archaeologists studying fields in the Kupavuno region of Greece discovered proof that Neolithic farmers were using manure to boost crop growth around 8,000 years ago. That timeline dramatically shifts our understanding of early agriculture. Before this, most experts believed fertilizer use began with the Romans or possibly at the very end of the Iron Age. The dominant theory held that early communities used slash and burn methods to clear land and moved on after a few harvests. But if manure was used deliberately, that suggests these people were more settled than previously assumed. Once the land was enriched, they likely farmed it for generations rather than relocating. This discovery forces a re-evaluation of how Neolithic communities lived and managed resources. It turns out they didn't just survive, they developed sustainable techniques that mirror aspects of modern farming long before written history began. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.